Hi, everybody. This is Dottie Nolan with Eastern Kentucky EKCEP. So good to see you. Today, we're going to be discussing the interview styles that you may participate in during your career. And we want you to feel comfortable with all the interview styles and be prepared for those so you walk in the door feeling confident and secure. However, before your job interview, here are some things you need to do way before that time. So make sure you answer your phone, because if you have applied for positions, make sure you answer your cell phone. Not all employers are going to be local, so they may have a different area code. If you can't answer your phone, make sure your voicemail is a pleasant voicemail. Make sure you answer with a pleasant tone. If you miss the phone call, then make sure you call them back within 2 hours if possible, simply because employers are interested in you at the moment, and if you don't show that you're interested, they're going to move on to someone else. Answer your email. We've discussed email etiquette before. However, some employers may try to get in touch with you through an email, so make sure you check your junk mail, because sometimes things can be filed in there. Once again, answer within 24-hour time period. When you do send the email, make sure you send it back to the correct person, and make sure you spell check it. Last but not least, please have your wardrobe in mind. Have a couple of wardrobes in mind. Make sure your outfits look nice. Make sure they feel good. Make sure they're nice, neat, and clean. Make sure you have good hygiene on the day of your job interview, because a part of you looking good and feeling good and smelling good is going to show that you have confidence and respect during your job interviews. All right? So we've talked about all those things that should happen way before your job interview. Now let's move on to the different styles of interviews. We're going to discuss the traditional style, virtual style, the phone interview, and the panel interview, and how all of these could possibly be recorded. Let's move on to one of my favorites, which is the traditional job interview. Now, the traditional job interview is going to be a one-to-one job interview with you and probably your supervisor. This interview will last about 30 to 45 minutes. The employer or your supervisor interviewing will probably have a copy of your application and a copy of your resume. They will invite you to sit down. More than likely, they will start out the job interview with questions like, tell me a little bit about yourself. So during this job interview style with the traditional one-on-one, the person interviewing you hopes to make you feel as comfortable as possible. We all know that job interviews can definitely work on your nerves. So the purpose of this type of job interview is for the employer to just get a really good fit about how you would fit in personally to the culture of their business and the type of experiences that you have. Okay, so keep in mind during any job interview, please don't answer this. Please don't send text. Make sure your mind is clear the day of your job interview. Be focused on the questions. Be focused on the person interviewing you. Make sure you discuss your experiences and your skills and how all that can fit into why they should hire you into the position that you're applying for. Okay? So have good posture. Focus on the speaker. Answer the questions honestly and professionally. Show respect during the job interview. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to do great. Let's talk about a virtual job interview. Many employers are choosing this type of interview style more and more simply because it can take place anywhere, anytime. They will be probably an interview with Zoom, Skype, Google Meets. And we all know that we're in the virtual era, so you shouldn't be shocked with this type of an interview. However, some good tips to keep in mind is choose a room that's quiet, choose a room that has good lighting, a space with very little distractions, such as noise, people walking in, your pets walking in, jumping up on the table while you're interviewing. I would suggest that you don't eat or drink during the job interview. Make sure you have your camera on, make sure you have the volume up, and make sure you unmute. Have a copy of your resume, because I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a copy of your resume and your application as well. Use this time to focus on the person asking you questions, not looking at yourself and messing with your hair and messing with your clothes during the job interview and being distracted. They're not going to understand if you have to step away for a moment. So once again, during this type of interview style, make sure that you give them 100% of your focus. Again, have good posture. Be aware of your facial expressions and your body language, because they're watching all of those things too. Okay? All right. I think virtual interviews can be fun, and I'm pretty sure that you will find this a very convenient job interview, because you may not have to drive to the place of business. Okay? All right. I'm thinking we're pretty good with the virtual interview style. Let's move on to the phone interview. Many employers, once again, may use this type of style, especially if you live in a different state. So they may contact you through your cell phone. Some helpful tips to keep in mind with a phone interview is try to avoid being in your car while on a phone interview, simply because of the road noise. You may have, people honking their horns, sirens from police cars or ambulances. There may be irate drivers. You just don't know what you're going to run into on the road. So if you do have a phone interview, make sure you're somewhere, once again, that's quiet, because you want to focus on the person that's talking to you. So use your listening skills. Once again, have a copy of your resume with you, because more than likely they will have a copy of your application and your resume as well. Give them 100% of your attention. Once again, try to avoid distractions like eating or drinking or trying to multitask during phone interviews. Once again, they may last 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the type of job interview that you're applying for. Once again, have good posture. Be aware of your facial expressions. Be aware of your tone of voice. This may be a little more difficult job interview, because you're not going to be face to face. You're not going to see the person that's interviewing you. So a part of making that connection is visualizing the conversation between you and the person talking to you. Okay? Phone interviews can be a little tricky, but you may enjoy them. However, if you do well on a phone interview, more than likely they may invite you to a face-to-face interview. Okay? All right. Let's move on to a panel interview. A panel interview can sometimes make people really nervous, because a panel interview may include the person that may be your supervisor, maybe the human resource director, maybe a coworker, or a person from a different shift. So, or someone involved with community involvement, maybe someone on their administrative board. So panel interviews can definitely include more than one person. That's why they're called a panel interview. Now, during the panel interview, you will have other people asking you questions. So during the time that an individual is asking you a question, make sure you give that person eye contact. Once again, make sure you have pleasant body language, pleasant facial expressions, a pleasant tone. Take a copy of your resume with you. They will more than likely have one as well. Have good posture. Just have good manners. Once again, a panel interview can be fun. Keep in mind, while an individual's asking you a question, maybe another part of the panel is getting an idea of who you are as far as a leader. They're watching your body language. They're getting an idea of who they think you would be as a critical thinker. They're assessing your skills. Okay. Panel interviews, as I mentioned earlier, can be fun, but they can also be stressful And that's why we are discussing interview styles, is so you don't have that stress on the day of your job interview. Once again, this can be a distraction, so please do not answer your cell phone. Please do not text during any job interview. And I think that's just a good rule of thumb to remember with any interview style. Let's talk about recording a job interview. Now, employers may ask before your job interview, do you mind if we record it, whether it's a phone interview or virtual interview or a panel interview? They're not going to record it without your knowledge. They will always ask, do you mind if we record the job interview? Now, one of the reasons employers may record the job interview is because maybe they have a coworker that wasn't able to be there that day. So they want to record it so this person can watch the video and get, once again, an idea of who they think you may be for the position. Employers, once again, just aren't going to spring this on you. They will ask your permission before they record it. And once again, the whole purpose is to let other individuals that can't be there that day watch the interview, observe your body language, observe how you answer the questions, and once again, just get some clarity on who they think you're going to be as far as a candidate for the position. Okay? This is not a technique to trip you up. It is a technique that employers use simply because we know that sometimes we can't be in the same place at once. So employers and coworkers don't want to miss out on getting to know you as an individual. So the recorded interview may just be that extra piece that can help others figure out who you are and how you're going to fit in with the type of company that they have. So this is the end of the training as far as the interview styles, but I would like to review a few things before we completely end the training, okay? Let's go back to the traditional interview. Once again, this is the most common type of interview style between you and more than likely the person that's going to be your supervisor. Okay? Just relax, be confident, and if you practice for your job interview, all of these questions are just going to come natural. The virtual interview, once again, can happen anywhere, anytime, through Zoom or Google or Skype. And these are becoming more and more popular because maybe we don't all live in the same state, or it keeps you from driving an hour or more to a job interview. Phone interviews are becoming more popular also, but it can be a screening tool used to invite you to a face-to-face job interview. Keep in mind, have a spot that has a good connection and use your listening skills simply because you're not going to be face-to-face with an individual. Panel interviews can be nerve-wracking at times. It can definitely make you a little bit nervous, which is what we want to avoid because it will include several members of that company or agency. But once again, they're doing the same thing as the employer is doing during a virtual interview, face-to-face interview, or a phone interview. They're watching your body language. They're listening to your tone of voice. They're listening to your questions. They may be taking notes, and they're observing how they think that you would fit into the company. Last but not least, we discussed that employers will ask your permission way before they record any video. They will make you aware of that, not to make you nervous, not to trip you up, but to include other staff members in your interview that may not be able to make it that day. Okay? So, I think that we're in pretty good shape as far as what to expect with different interview styles. I hope you enjoyed this training. I hope it was very beneficial to you because our goal is for you to find employment and employers to find really great staff. So guess what? We finished this training. I appreciate your time so much. I appreciate you. I'm sure you'll see me again. And now go get that job. Thanks so much.